So after the weekend, I'm back to do some more. The levels might be a little loud. Let me see if I keep the microphone a little bit further away. I think it's okay. Okay. Anyway, I have the chats on, so let me just double check that everything is going. Again, if you want to join and ask anything, you can do that on Discord, which is on eventmodeling.org. And for some reason, my banner is not going. Where is the banner? All right. Where is the banner? Banner. Browser history. Okay. Did I close that by accident? Yes, I did. There's the banner, but it's in the wrong tab. Let's move that off. Show everyone what I'm doing here. So I kind of have this, and then I kind of squish it down, and then I move it. Why is that showing? That's bizarre. Showing the wrong thing. So it's gonna, well, I can have it on the screen here, but then Control Z, oops, I clicked the wrong thing. So it goes a little bit wider, and then in OBS I have to change that. Banner properties, and select the correct window. Should be banner, event modeling streams banner. There we go. Okay. All right, so now that's in there, but way too gigantic. It goes behind me. I guess that's kind of cool. I do want to change the banner so it doesn't. So there's two copies of it. There's this big white like space, or maybe not. Maybe it's nice to get a break from the banner flowing across. All right, banner's back. I'll move this window to the other screen. Put it over here and hope it still works. Yeah, so anyway, I was just saying that if you want to join the stream discussions or have a question during the stream, go to the eventmodeling.org, and I have a chat there. Now I moved it off to the wrong side here. Just trying to work off this other monitor. There we go. Hey, levels are fine. Thank you so much. Who is that? Mackie Connell. Thank you. All right. So I'll change. I noticed that I never changed the title of the stream. Maybe I should start doing that. So what we're doing today is following up where we got to last time, which is actually pretty cool. So where we left off was getting a very cool test runner that goes off of these tests that really duplicate the example timelines that we have in the event model. So as you can see here, if you remember if you were here for the last stream, you would notice that we have these timelines, and each timeline has a name, but then it has a checkpoint. I'm still thinking of better terminology here. I really want to make sure that it's in line with anything else that's been out there in the programming world that'll allow the trained AIs to really pick it up. So I think timeline is great because we understand that now these are pieces that have an event in each one. We have a progress marker, so I'm trying to use terminology that shows that we're moving through time. And what we're doing here is that we have a set of events that is built up from previous ones. And we test against the state. So I think it makes the connection. I think last time when we pasted in one of these given when thens or given thens, we had the code generated quite easily. So I want to make sure that our solution has these as an example, and yeah, so that's kind of what we want to do, if that makes sense. As we go through the stream, I'll explain more. The other thing that we did last time is I think I showed at the beginning, I worked through some issues about pasting code samples into the event model. So for example, if you're talking about the solution with business folks, you kind of leave it at this level where you're talking about, you know, parts of the workflow. Here we're talking about how participant registration portal management works. In this case, this participation registration portal is really about, after you've set up your conference, you want to show a URL for participants, which is, you know, they'll be able to scan it on their phone here. So set it up for participant registration. And we kind of made a fictitious thing. I mean, generating QR codes isn't that difficult, but we pretended that that was the service that we wanted to have as something that would simulate a non-trivial larger service, or maybe something that's a heavier calculation where we would need to automate that. And also I wanted to kind of address some of the questions on the community that they had. So, okay, this is great, but my processors are things that are long running. They have more than one step. Yeah, this works for multiple step long running processes. This to-do list certainly could have a certain number of fields in each record that would be serviced by different processors chained together, or not chained together, but that's the wrong terminology. It could be done in parallel or whatever other scheme you want, because each of these gears, as you put them in play, can work off of any kind of status that's reflected here. And you could also show that through a state machine diagram if you wanted to, but that's going to lose your audience from the business side. What's not going to lose them is understanding how this information gets interpreted bit by bit, why each piece is important, and also showing all the different scenarios like we did last time in terms of what happens. So long story short, this is not supposed to be for developers. But if a developer does want to go here, I'm happy to show these snippets of code that they can see exactly how this whole thing works. So I know how this particular accumulator works. I know that it's listening to these types of events, or holding over these events depending on what you're doing. And here we're just reading the events from the file for the file system underneath. That's all we're doing. And here, this particular processor looks for any ID that's not filled yet, and if there aren't any, it just returns. And of course, if there are some, it goes ahead and triggers the actual the process or function, or whatever function in this case, that will generate that. And in this case, that would be this here. So here again, we have our core. You know, I could highlight this in red, you know, showing that this is where the magic happens. And so I think we did that last time to show the important parts of the code. I think I have my red here. Yeah, sure, apply. Was it as bright red as that? Oh, actually, I don't want that. I wanted the background, so I wanted the background color to be, did we have that or this dark brown one? Maybe it was this dark brown one. Let's see if that matches what we have on the others. I don't have anything there because that's all self-explanatory. Where else do we have this? Oh, here. Okay, right. So we have this color here. I think it is this darker red that we're using. So, okay, so yeah, this shows you where that happens. And so, you know, we can also show that it's being set here. And the reason I'm not afraid to do the documentation on the side, as people will complain that when you maintain software, documentation falls out of sync very quickly. Not in the case of event sourcing and event modeling. There's a very strong adherence to kind of the idea of open-close principle. Once you build something, it rarely gets maintained. It kind of just works. And if there's any significant changes, you really throw away these entire pieces. So if this was to change in any significant way, what would happen is this entire slice here, this vertical part, would get replaced by a different one. All this would just be thrown in the garbage. Sure, you might look for clues from the previous thing, so you're not rewriting everything from scratch necessarily, but for all intents and purposes, you know, I might not like this implementation. I might just chuck it all. So this is why in event modeling, the documentation, even with code samples in it, they don't fall out of sync. So especially if someone's trying to get up to speed, it might be interesting to add this layer to your event model just to show how things work. So the other thing that we did last time was actually just working against some of the pitfalls of copy pasting code from an IDE into Draw.io. There's some formatting in the HTML. I think I still have some of that in the history here. So, you know, if we look at, well, just to demonstrate it again quickly for those that missed the last stream, if I copy this code, then we have, if we show all the things that we did with Xclip. Xclip is a utility that allows you to show and manipulate the clipboard. And when I pressed copy right there, it actually made a couple of versions of it, the plain text one and the HTML one. And that's kind of how modern clipboards work, except that what Visual Studio Code puts in the clipboard as HTML is not actually valid HTML. At least it doesn't seem to be, or at least it doesn't seem to be interpreted particularly well by the Draw.io HTML rendering thing. Let me just find the one that has, I think it's targets, Control C. If I put targets, yeah, so if I show that, you can see that it has these 4 types, and these are reserved words here, save targets, etc. You can read about this in the Xclip documentation and other documentations for clipboards, but you can manipulate these if you want to. You know, it's essentially what I had to do is manipulate the clipboard to adjust these things, because if I look at the HTML output text and show you what it looks like, what I just copied, you'll notice that it's a whole bunch of HTML. Problem is that this top level div, there's 2 levels of divs. There's the outer container one, which gives you something that tries to give you the mono font, and then of course it has the white space pre, and this doesn't seem to be enough. White space pre is supposed to preserve these spaces that are given before, like for example, if you have an indent. Let me see if I can find a, okay, yeah, so there's something like state here, and then just before that there's some white space. You can find a whole bunch of other ones here where you have, there's a style of the color, but then there's a change in color when you say the word assert. But here's the indent space, and this doesn't get rendered. So when you paste directly into Draw.io, everything will be just left aligned, dropping all of these things. So it's not interpreting this. And through trial and error, obviously this worked from a different editor. I opened up the same file in Kate, which also had copy as HTML, and pasted it into Draw.io, and that worked. So then I just compared the two and saw, well, what's the difference between this? And one of the, well, first of all, Kate does a much better job in terms of the HTML copy pasting. So use that if you want to paste in some code examples in your documentation. But I just changed this initial div to a pre-tag, and that did it. That seemed to work. It also reset the rendering on that particular rectangle in Draw.io. So I'm thinking it might be more of a Draw.io issue, because then I could paste in whatever I want here, and it would preserve the white spaces at the beginning to preserve my tabs. But yeah, the day before I was really, well, actually I think it was the same day before the stream. I was kind of spending an hour on that at least, and just trying to see if I could find a way to manipulate the XML some other way. But I found a quick workaround, which is to just copy one of these that already works, and then just highlight all the text inside and paste in the new HTML. That seems to preserve whatever the fix is in here. But definitely leaning on the side of Draw.io having an issue. However, that issue did not come up when pasting code from the Kate editor, and I'm not sure. I'm sure there's someone can open up IntelliJ IDE and other IDEs to see if that still persists. But anyway, that's what we did last time. So, bit of a side note there. The other thing that we have is we have two. This is saved obviously in a working directory. Back I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I showed you how we keep the diagrams in a separate. Okay, now that's odd. Where did that go? Okay. We keep the diagrams in a separate branch. So this branch is a system design branch, and it's independent of the actual work going on. And how you save yourself from switching between branches to see this is you use git worktree to make sure that the system design branch is in a separate folder beside the one that you're working on for the code. That seems to work well, except I did something on another computer and pushed it up, so I have to resolve a merge conflict on a diagram, and I'm not going to do that with multiple layers and all that, so I will create another branch. I'll show you how this particular thing is not merging. So this is where we left off last time. I pushed up the code so people could see the code. But I did not push up this latest diagram because of the merge conflict. So I'm going to fix that so you have this latest diagram. And of course, we discussed this new convention for slices. Oh God, sometimes the navigation is very wonky. I don't know what is going on. I think, yeah, if I'm not, what is going on? Draw.io plugin is navigating in a weird way today. So let's see. What can we do here? Yeah, so this convention is for this slice. Let me turn off the code view right now. So when we talk about a slice, in this case, we're talking about the to-do list, which the processor reads and kicks off different tasks. We can show the different ways that this can be influenced by different events as we continue with our timelines, and other things happen in the system that affect this to-do list. So our processor works properly. We show this and we can say that this is the happy path, how things should work. You can also add these extra markers on the timeline, and this is to not just help humans but also to help AI. I guess it could be interpreted as a comment along one of these steps in this timeline, this checkpoint. I guess we started to call them checkpoints along the way, but we have a test for each that we want to do a test on. So if we didn't want to test this, we could just delete this and we would still have an for this checkpoint, and it would only have an event. It would not have something. I think we have, there's a couple of examples. So here we have, a new timeline, a processor is idempotent. And in this case, what we're doing is we're saying that if we get 2 of these, I'm not sure if I actually finished this. Yeah, we didn't get to that one. So here, this is a new timeline, so we need to show that this is, let's fix this since I want to, oh, interesting. What happened there? So it was there. Okay, something's up with this. What is going on? Okay, let's save this and reopen it because Draw.io is not participating. with us properly here. Control S. It's not even saving. File, save. Okay, it's saved. Let's kill that and open it again. Open file. Yeah, something was strange. So it's in the design. This is the other folder that I said that's in the design. So let's just see if we have everything where it's supposed to be, or if we had some rendering issues. Okay, so everything is here. No wonder it looked strange, like I didn't finish it. So yeah, this is processor being idempotent, and we don't have, yeah, I don't have an example right now with nothing being tested. So I guess we kind of don't need this top one, because we know that this test, we have this happy path that tests this. We have this test already. Like when we have no events, what does this look like by default? We don't need to do this, right? So we could just delete that and go down here and zoom out. You see how weird it behaves a little weird. It moves a little. I don't know. This wasn't happening before. Now it's happening. I'm not sure why. Okay, so now we have processor is idempotent. So, oh, I know. Let's get rid of these shapes for now. Get rid of the, yeah, shapes are getting in the way. Okay. So then we have a duplicate of a request, and we show that we don't put a second value in here with another blank for the processor to do two things. We made a business rule that we only have one conference going on at a time that you set up and can have per tenant. We might change that later. Maybe we show how we evolve the system to act differently. But then, okay, now this is where we left off. This is not, yeah. So a duplicate will be ignored, so it has that. And then a duplicate provision. So we have to get rid of all of these previous ones. And we have that as the only one. So the processor is not going to pick this up, because now this to-do list, this to-do item is populated. We talked about how that works. The important thing is, though, that we and I think we're putting them in the wrong. I think I know what the problem is. Yeah, we're putting them in the wrong layer. Did I do that on the other one too? No, that progress is supposed to disappear, right? So we have these progress things disappearing. Code can disappear. So progress, yeah, we have to copy that or cut it and go to the event model. Just turn everything off that we don't use and just be on the event model when we're working on the event model, and put it like this. So we're not testing, we are testing this though. Where did that go? Did we put that somewhere else? Yes, we put it on the code level. So yeah, definitely take these and cut them, go to the event model and paste here. That's good. Then if the code disappears, oh, this one is also a problem. Control X and then Control V. And now if we turn the code off and on, that doesn't disappear. Okay, good. So we got it on the right level. I think that's what it was. Maybe it was just didn't appear on this layer. All right, so processor is idempotent. So we do not need to test this. We know that that was tested here. What is the default? When we have this first one, when we have a request, we know that's from the happy path. We have that. But what we don't have is that we still have just one, even though we had two requests. So they have to be intertwined. The requests and the provision of an ID has to be intertwined. So we test that. We also understand that this is valid. I'm debating whether we delete this one because it has a slightly different history. So there might be a reason to have this test here. Remember, because we're testing the green box here, anytime in this timeline that we have a green box, we're running a unit test that has a precondition of the previous events so far in each arrow, each little timeline. So here, I think let's just test the only thing that we're testing. So we know that this works when we have a request and then a provision. We know that we update this here. So we know that that works. What we don't have a test for is that when we have one thing provided and a second thing provided right after, that the state of this shows the first one ignores the second one, right? So we also describe what happens here. So now we really have two tests here. A test that shows that if we have two things in a row that aren't supposed to be in a row, like these two requests, we still only generate one instead of two. And likewise, when we have two provisions of something, for whatever reason, we ignore the second one and we only report what this one is. So this is another interesting thing about these state views, is that they cannot fail, right? You don't have exceptions here. You can certainly have another message that, hey, your history's wonky or stuff happened that wasn't supposed to happen, but they don't throw anything actively. You might in your implementation throw, but you catch what's been thrown, or there's an error and you catch it, but you're supposed to not halt execution. They're really a view of all the events that are there. The source of, you should really block these, and we did go into, how do we really don't want to deal with these conditions. We put this testing in here to show how, for some reason, if history ended up being like this, what it would do. But really this side is, well, probably for this case here, getting these two in a row is not going to be possible, probably 100%, 99% of the time, whatever it is, because we have, a superfluous second command does actually throw an exception here. When we try to make this happen, the processor actually does that. And how do we stop, this from happening? Well, this would be in one of the previous steps where we try to generate a request where that won't be allowed to happen, where this will have a failure. So request unique ID is, this particular thing here. And I'm not sure if first of all, this test we haven't finished yet. So this whole slice is something that we'll do today. And then continue to evolve this format for our test framework. So I think, in a nutshell, event sourcing is so good that it deserves its own BDD style framework and specification. And I don't know if this works, and more people will adopt it. If I think the first go at this is not going to be the final way of doing it. I think also, given where we are in the industry with how much AI is being used, and what the interesting part is that AI has been trained on a lot of non-event source stuff. How do we make this actually work really well? So that is the exciting stuff for the next couple of years, is how do we make this stuff really fast. I think it will be incredibly fast because we are using a human-friendly way of specifying things. We're looking at timelines of what happened. There's another exceptional case here. If we never got a request, but we had an ID provided as the first thing, we also just don't do anything. There's no conference IDs generated, which is interesting because there's another case that will come up here when we're looking at the conference IDs. how do we graduate an ID from here to actually pop up in something else. We'll notice that we'll be duplicating some of this logic, which is okay, which is something we want to do. And yeah, so I think the next part is, yeah, let's take care of that conflicts. I can push this up for you. Let's just finish a few things here, such as getting the text in here, the correct, where's the background? Font color, background color. We don't even have a background. Oh no, we don't want the background color. The font color we want as, what was it, this nasty green? I think so. It's not that bad actually. The black background, it kind of works. So let's do that again here. The font will be this guy. Okay, so we have a similar happy path, and I guess we could have a superfluous thing as a, so that's another thing we discussed last time. I can have a lot of these weird scenarios explained on the same timeline as we have for here. So I wouldn't call it happy path anymore. I would just say scenario path for multiple scenarios or something like that, because over here we have an unhappy path. This thing is not likely to happen where we have this processor running so fast that, or maybe two of them running at the same time by mistake, that we do queue off of one request and we provide two IDs, and for the second one we throw this exception. So, you know, this is the main point of the story here is that usually for testing a slice, and in this case we're testing this command, which we unlocked from the processor for some reason. That's better. This command that the processor issues, all of the tests are really going to be doable in one example timeline. But there are times where that may be a little bit too difficult to set up or might lose people in detail. And we want to say that, you know what, this slice, I want to reset or start a brand new history for what happens in this part of the system. And so I want to see distinct timelines so that I can show succinctly the different tests that I want to run. So yes, this is one set of scenarios. They're grouped by timelines, and these are the unit tests that will happen to do that. Now, a lot of these unit tests act as acceptance tests. We certainly have thrown away the idea of traditional acceptance tests, end-to-end tests, by making appropriate new state views that express what we would want to express in something like an acceptance test or an end-to-end test or anything like that you have. Yeah, we certainly don't try to test things like our payment gateways and things like that. So, okay. So I don't see any other questions for me, which is good. And so I'll continue on now to check this in, because I think this is now okay. So I'm going to explicitly save this, and I'll show you what the problem was in here. If I go to the design and I see Git status that I have this modified, okay, which I modified further, because if I do get log one line, and then I just look at my BPF design local branch, and I do origin BPF design, I have, you know, update the slices. I don't know what that was. but I pushed it up from another computer, and I'm not about to walk the XML to fix this merge conflict in text. So I will now create another work tree for that. So get work tree, see the list, we only have 2. And I'll make another one for that. So I will do, I can also just ask Cursor AI to do that. So it actually knows what I did just now. It has text, the work tree list. It knows that, and it knows where they exist. So I can say make another work tree for origin BPF design. Right, so if I do that, it should give me, yeah, it goes back 1, design dash origin. So it gives it a, I guess, a doable name. I mean, you don't want a slash in there, so the dash origin's fine. So I'm happy with that. I can press Control Enter. So that's one of the reasons I use Cursor. It really knows what you're working on, and it does look at what you were, and this is even a different syntax, like a different shell. It's fish shell, so it still picks up a lot of the nuance there. Sometimes I have to say, hey, don't use bash, use fish shell. Depends, but for the most part, it's pretty good. So now we have that, and if I go to that, so cd, oops, escape from that. Now I know what I'm doing. I can do that. It's just straight in the command line. Just hit escape to get out of the prompting. And I can go to open spaces, Como Camp, and design origin. Okay. Actually, I don't even need to go in there. I just want to open that up beside this one. So I'm going to open up all the layers here, just so I can see where everything is. I'm going to get rid of that because I want to show this side by side, or maybe up and down. Let's close this for now, so I can see a small version of the event model, like this, and then I can open file, and then go up 1, and then check out the other one here. And then, of course, I want to split down, so I can show that there. And then this one I want to close, because now I'm looking at 2 of them side by side, and I could see what we're missing visually. So this is the poor man's merge conflict resolution. I know that there is one. If I was to go and show you again, you can see so the stream from Friday where the problem was. Well, you don't see where the problem is, but you see that the files conflict when you try to merge them. So let's take a look and see what is actually going on here. So I can zoom in a little bit, and we'll do a first pass at the UIs at the top to see that they're identical, and if we can notice anything there. Here we can open up everything else as well, zoom in to what we have here, and also turn off our shapes. So zoom out to the same level, and it looks like this. Let's get rid of these screens, these layers. Close the layers for now. As long as I have the event model on, it's fine. All right. So this looks okay. I'm just looking for some major sort of issues that I can see from far away. So we're at add time slots here. I can take a look at add time slots. I'll line that up. I don't think I had, okay, so I definitely didn't put in any code examples in that branch yet. So I think I'm just gonna clobber the one that's up on the server right now. And anything else on here. So obviously we don't have code samples, but we go from here to here. And this looks, I didn't touch any of this, so I'm really not too worried about this being different. I mostly don't want to throw anything away that I might have pushed up. Oh, interesting. So this one here has the system design, and so does this one. Okay, so even this little drawing here, we have that. I think I might have changed the direction of the arrows, but I don't think I did. Anyway, it's not an important detail. So now let's just go backwards with anything that we have kind of underneath the UI. So I see there's another example that I have here. Oh, it exists here. So that looks the same. Let's zoom in on these guys here. See if I have these odd little menus that I was poking around with just to implement the next screens, but I haven't done that yet. That part of the system isn't modeled. And then moving over to here. So that was, okay, that's interesting. So no, that's the other one here. So that's the same. Okay. So move over here. And we do have the same thing. Yeah. Let's move over to this where we can see some of the work that we had here with our screens. And I think it is still the same. We just don't have the code in here. So yeah, I think this model has this other one that was up here is out of date with the other one. This is kind of where we were working. It's interesting how it got pushed up like that, and then we reset it. So that is fairly up to date. It just doesn't have some of the other formatting. And I think yeah, I think it's good to chuck this. Yeah, so we're not going to be destroying anything here. I think it's safe to merge this with R's strategy. I don't see anything else. Oh, what is this? Backlog. Oh, we do have that here too. Okay, so yeah, very few changes here. So I'm happy to just ignore this. And of course, I'm not deleting this. I'm just going to solve the merge conflict with the R's strategy. So, and how you do that, let's just close this because I think we're happy. Again, if we got anything wrong, we can always look at that version. Let's open up our IDE. And so here we have our latest version in the design. This is not the other side, right? We only, if I do our work tree list, we now have these where the origin is here. We didn't make a special local branch for it. That's why it says detached head. But we are here in the ComoCamp design, which is this branch. And so first of all, we have to add all the things that we cleaned up here, which I think was layers cleanup and given when then and given then cleanup. So git add event. If I know I'm committing one thing, I want to do that explicitly. Just check that there's no other shenanigans going on, no other files changed by accident. And then git commit. I should actually change that abbreviation. Gosh darn it. cd ... scripts 2. Why is that? What's the problem here? GS cursor custom prompt node dev. Oh, okay. I'm not gonna bother with that. That was git stash git pull. No, it's pushing. Git is it PL? GPL? GL? Yeah, GL. Okay. I don't like how these abbreviations are happening, so cat machine setup, and we want the abbreviations. What are they? Yeah, why is this dash V in here? That should be dash M. That's bizarre. Yeah, why is that like that? Get CM, get C. Oh, is that like with an editor or something? I guess I just did get CM for commit, but I never do this dash V. What is that? Okay, I don't like the way that's going, but let me just use get CM. All right, so get status, get CM, and here we will. I wish I had the opening quote, but okay, I'll clean up the script another time. By the way, fish abbreviations are so much better than aliases. You can do so much in terms of like where you put the cursor afterwards and combine this with tab completes, the completions in fish. People were kind of arguing about like why fish is, like what's your favorite shell? Like there's nothing that beats fish in my opinion, just what you can do. Yes, it's not POSIX compliant, so but I don't care. For very important scripts, I'll use bash. For my own scripts and for my own command line stuff, I'll use fish because it's much nicer. Even though it's not POSIX, I don't care. I'd rather do a SSHFS mount to a server and manipulate stuff from my own shell here, especially if I have a nice fast connection and I'm just doing text files. Who the hell cares? So anyway. So this is the fixed up the layers, finished the new given when then and given then structure colors for labels, for checkpoint labels. And I'm not sure if there's anything else that we did, but whatever, that's good enough. So I have that. I can't push that up because we have that silly thing. So we have to git merge, and that's origin, BPF design. Yep, it's gonna give us, it's gonna barf, and then we're gonna do, oh, we can git merge abort. Okay, so what we want to do is, I forget the syntax because I don't do this often, but Control K gives me the prompt and I say git merge with the ours strategy. I don't want what's in the second parent. When that's origin. Actually, it should know that I'm doing that to this. It should know which branch I'm talking about. Yep, there's a strategy. Ours should work. Okay, right quit. So we merged it, so we can now git push this. Yes, it worked. So yeah, we'll definitely, I mean, we could do a diff to what we added to that one, but our log will show that we did merge this, update the slices, but we don't know what the hell that was. We didn't see anything. And we just clobbered those changes, yet just treat it as a merge, which is fine. I should zoom in, right? You guys can't see this text easily. So let me know if the text is big enough for you guys to see. I missed this. God's time. What did you miss? Did you miss me? Did you miss the last the last session? Anyway, let's keep going. So yeah, if you missed the last session or the other sessions, definitely look in the YouTube channel for that. I'm not sure if Twitch keeps things on there. It definitely gets recorded as a LinkedIn post and a X post, and I try to update Mastodon and Blue Sky with links to the YouTube recordings. So I will try to remember to do that. And I also try to rename the post on LinkedIn to kind of give a summary of what was discussed. So hopefully that helps. So that's fixed the problem that we finished off last time, and let's jump into the code. And so we're done with the design. That's another work tree. So we can go back to again, one of my pet peeves about VS Code is that it steals focus from alt, left, and right. So I can't go through my history of directories, which Fish Shell is really good at. So I can't do that here, which is really bad. And I should probably remap those shortcuts in Fish. So let's go to that directory. So we go cd ... open spaces Como Camp, the regular one. So we have some changes here. I wonder what that is. What are we changing here? I thought I pushed all this up. Oh, I just okay. I think that's what I was doing. Okay, so another thing that I have to say is that I was recording the podcast yesterday with Martin, who wrote the book. Yeah, you should probably get this book if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing. You can see the little sticky notes at the top. They're exactly the sticky notes that I'm doing on here. And you'll understand how to do event modeling and event sourcing, which we're doing here. And there's a new course that Martin is going to be doing that walks you through the book, and you can follow along with your favorite stack. So I think I'll be doing this stack as an example for all the things you find in this book. So get this book on LeanPub. It's like number 1 or 2. Only recently has it been bumped off number 1 because it's also available in a hard copy on Amazon. So people are buying the hard copies instead. But you should have both because Martin does adds new chapters like once a month at least, or something like that. There's a security one that was just added, and another one about GDPR and other things like that. So yeah, kind of like the deeper level of understanding, like how do you take care of some of these other things, those are added as extra chapters. And there might be like, this is understanding event sourcing, and then there's probably going to be all those extra chapters might come up in the print book that will be something like, missing chapters, understanding event sourcing, the missing chapters. I'm also adding the event modeling chapter on there, which has all these updated things you're seeing here. So anyway, just a side note. But anyway, the reason that this changes is here is because I was showing this during the podcast. So I really don't care that this is here. Might as well continue on anyway. So what were we doing? We were making this test runner for this type of layout, right? So maybe I could split this horizontally so we could have, or vertically, so we could have a reference of what this looks like and show the implementation. So let me see if I can just split this. Split to the right, and then I can close this one, and then I can close the shapes, and I can close the layers, and I think that's good enough. So zoom out and go to our section that we're working on and zoom in here. And actually I don't need that much space for it. I can just do this. And then we have both things for reference here. All right. So we were rewriting this this view, and this was for rooms. So it was actually, so what we were doing is we were rewriting how the rooms test is, which is here, which is just one timeline. And notice the old way of doing things, right? We don't have this here anymore. We have to have it like this. And then we also have some more labeling. So this is what we were using as a test case. But what I want to do is support, there's another one here, right? So we gotta, you know, change the way things are. Not only is this on the wrong side now, but, you know, our commands actually, oops, are on this side. Right, so I'm not sure where they lined up. Was that right? That's it here. Okay, so that, and that, right? So we have this as our reference. So we want to have each slice has multiple timelines, and each timeline then has multiple checkpoints, which can be just comments, or they can actually be something to do a test and assert on the state. In this case, some slices are setup. Sorry, some checkpoints are just adding history, and there is no test here. It's providing a step that has been taken, and it's used as a part of the given when then. So the arrange act assert, this is part of the arrange. So we're arranging these two here, and then we're testing that the state is what we expect here. And so this is the code structure that we came up with. And if you look at the end of last session, you'll see that the AI really did pick up this convention. So AI works well with simple repetitive conventions, and this is kind of, you know, our way of doing that. Where we were at is trying to make sure that that this test still passes, because we have this different set of collections now. We have a bunch of slices, so each vertical slice in the diagram, and then each of those slices has potentially multiple timelines, which we have here. We have three timelines for this slice, and then inside those timelines we have these checkpoints, which are all the rows that you see here. And then, of course, as we run this, we have the idea that if we come across a checkpoint, we reduce these, because we have to build up the history. So we have to use a reducer with an accumulation of the previous events. And this is where we initialize that accumulator to have an event stream array, which is empty, of course, at first. We don't have anything there. And then as we go through these, we first of all, you know, return the accumulator after we're done. But at the very beginning, you know, first we check if there's no test. We return the accumulator. Actually, this is wrong, because I see an error here right away. We need to, first of all, if there is an event, we need to store that in the accumulator. Whatever happens next, this is a given. So we need to move that up. That has to happen first. If we don't have a test, if we had it in the order that it was just in, that wouldn't have been good, because there's a chance that we would skip an event in the setup. We need to, you know, if there is an event, we need to add it to that history. That is primary. That is the primary thing. I mean, we could even not check for null, and we could just skip null events in the stream. But this is cleaner. Like if you look at that thing, I don't want to have a sparse array of events for my setup. So yeah, we could make it more idempotent of treating nulls as just skip it, but I think it might be confusing, might throw people off, like there was an error retrieving an event and we stuck a null in there. So We don't want to add extra code. This is, again, for the sake of just testing. So I hope that makes sense to everyone. If anyone's watching, what happens is that these streams get watched later by people. I've definitely gotten messages about, I've been watching like the history of your streams, and that's where I'm getting interaction. So very few people are watching live to ask questions. I've learned this is mostly material that people go to later. Let's see. So yeah, so the first thing we do is in here, we make sure that we're not in this on the right hand side. Let's see the first row up here. We basically have a check for the event. If it's null, then we don't put anything in there to the next step, because whatever we push here to this event stream, that is what's going to be used later. If the test is undefined, so we don't have something like this row is a good example here. In this row, we don't have anything to test up here. It's a blank. There is no state view. So we're not testing anything, which is fine. So we just return the accumulator, which accumulates, these histories, and we don't actually run a unit test. But if that fails, meaning that we do have a test, then we could have for debugging purposes, we could output something here such as no test to run, added event such and such, right? So added event, no test to run, added event, running this test, whatever. I do like the summary because I want to be able to console log things, and I just want to add things to the summary so that we have the test runner results at the bottom of our terminal. And if we need to, we can scroll up to see if there's any shenanigans going on with the console log. So hopefully that works for you as well. Obviously, we have try catches. We don't currently have like an expected exception, which I could easily write. I have an assert. I could say assert that throws or something. Whatever. I don't know if we could play around with that, but the amount of code here for a test runner is ridiculously small. So don't sweat it if you can't use JUnit or Mocha or whatever the heck you're using. Just write your own. It's pretty easy to do this stuff. And the reason that you don't need a lot of functionality is that all of these things are pure functions, so it's not super hard to understand what's going on. As you can see, all we're doing is if there is a test, so we have this test and we have a common signature to all the tests where we say, okay, give us the history. So what we built up in terms of history here. Okay, give me that as input. And then also give me what you're checking, which is the state. So as I have these 4 events set things up, I'm testing the state here because I'm on this row. But I've accumulated this history as we went through the previous rows, and now I'm testing this. So what's it doing when it does that? It's pretty much just running the test that's at the, and I should also probably split this vertically, split down, because I want to keep the logic here for you to see of what we're doing, but I want you to see the structure that we're feeding these loops with, right? So, as we go here, we have these slice tests, right? These slices, room state, view, no events. I forget what this slice name was. Room state view. And I don't think where the no events came from, but that's what it is. So we have some bugs. I think I was just clicking around and pasted some text where it shouldn't be. So let's look at this structure. So for each slice, which is this slice test, we're pushing these in. you know, test. So here's for each one, right? I can say testing slice colon, and I have the slice name, right? So I can say happy path. That'll come out here. And then we have the timelines, right? So then each slice has timelines. Here we have 3, 1, 2, 3 on the right-hand side. So these timelines here are basically, yeah, here's a timeline. I'm using indentation here to show slice, and then the timeline for each one we have that. And I think we need a couple more spaces here, honestly, because we want this summary to kind of line up with what's going on. So no indent for the slice, and then we have the timelines having a little clock and indent of 1, and then we have the test results, a couple of spaces, and then obviously a failure or pass or exception, or actually, sorry, failure or that. This is a log, so that's going to come up above. I want that as an explosion that's left aligned. This and this has to have, these 4 icons have to have the indents so it looks okay. So now that we're testing a whole timeline, we go through each checkpoint. And this is where the reduction happens. This is where we start to accumulate any events that we have. And so, yeah, we push the current event onto the event stream. And that's actually important that it's there, because we do take the current accumulation of events as the event stream when we actually do the test. And then, of course, when we're in each one of these, we do have the state. In this case, we have this state which has no rooms. And so our test, the logic here, has a name as well, which is nice, which we can actually do. I'm not sure if that'll work, if we have to have some other function constructor or something like that. I'm not sure if this will work. But yeah, so again, there it gets past that accumulated history and that current state on this row, which is this here. So the test runner will pass this object into here. I don't want to hard code anything here. I think the previous iteration of this had that before, where we were adding so much, like so many things that are by convention given in the event model. So now we want to push those as standard pieces of these checkpoints, and instead, have the test runner fit them together. And so, and the reason I put the tests up here in here, we had them as a separate set of traditional kind of unit tests. I don't want that. I want the tests to be right next to what you're doing in terms of setting up the test data. I don't want you to have to, what I had to do is the same kind of thing, is split the screen into 2 so I could see, okay, what's my test logic, and then okay, what is my timeline, right? We had that issue, and so I don't want that issue anymore. I want to be, in this area here, kind of looking at, where am I in terms of the events. I can quickly read the previous events, and then I can, read the post marker, like these little comments here. I want to be able to read those little comments as we go through. I want to be able to read the name of that timeline, and so on as I go through here. I want the data that I'm using to be right next to this. And so this should work. I mean, we can give it a go and see if it works. I think I have to do nvm use latest, and then I can do node app and then tests. Oh, awesome. We actually have test failures. So test failed. 2 rooms should be returned when 2 rooms have been added. This is very interesting. Again, not as verbose as oh, look at that. We do have an exception. So we do have reading type, cannot read properties of undefined type. Interesting. So let's look at that. Test failed in slice rooms with 2 rooms should be returned when 2 rooms have been added. So let's get rid of this one here because we don't need to look at that. The test runner seems to be working, which is pretty cool on the first pass. That's quite nice. So 2 rooms. 2 rooms should be added when 2 rooms have been, okay. 46, line 46, reading type. So we have event types in here, room added event. Can I go over there? Yes, I can. Okay. Oh, history, switch, reduce event type. I guess I could do a JSON console log. Let's see if that works. So let's run it again and see what kind of output we get. Type error, cannot read properties of undefined reading type. This is line 47. Why am I not even getting that? Maybe the history is a problem. Let's try that. Okay, so histories are getting built up. So processing history. Okay, so it's processing event undefined. Oh, okay, so the event. So this event is undefined. Room state view, processing event undefined. Room added event. Why do I have 2 processing events? There's a processing event. So I'm getting history. Processing history is this. There's a null here. Where is this coming from? Oh, I see. There's null or undefined. So our runner is almost finished. So yeah, we can, I wish we were more standard on this, but let's just say in our test runner, if the event doesn't equal null and it doesn't equal undefined, I think that's gonna give us, and I should have a debug thing in here, but I don't want to complicate things even more with another parameter. Just to have a log if if debug kind of thing. Anyway, this must be some standard way to turn all this extra crap off. But regardless, we do have failures. We can kind of see what they are. I don't want them under here. Like I could probably make, you know, some other way of capturing that. So if it was like a web page where you could expand things to see what happened, I think I can just scrape through all this. Okay, so we have, so I think the problem is that we do a null here in an event, right? We specifically say null, but we check here. We don't even bother saying that here. I think we want to be, I mean, I could do undefined, right? Can I do undefined? I mean, and then that gets rid of, I hate nulls. And this would reduce this. We could throw on a null and just say we don't support that format. But I don't want to. Would this work? I'm gonna stop barfing. Yeah, works. Okay, so that's good. And look how fast those tests run, right? Isn't it awesome to have everything as unit tests? All right, so I think we should commit this so people can see it. It's very exciting, isn't it? What is more exciting is getting the other side working, because this is a very simple format for this test. So let's just get GCM, what the V is, but test runner works for testing state views on timelines, on multiple timelines per slice. Which is nice. Let's add everything. Okay, so that's up there. If you want to see the code, if you want to do a pull request to improve this, I think we're going to have to add. So first of all, let's see if we can add this to do genconf sv history, because we didn't implement this with test first. I think we did the other one with test first. So, you know, if you're doing test first or TDD, this works fine. I mean, my argument is that the refactoring step is really benign here. So, you know, TDD is not really worthwhile. But whatever. Tell me why I'm wrong. Everyone seems to try and do that all the time, but let's do this. Let's see if I can copy this as an image and let AI generate the code for testing this slice, as we did before. If you don't remember, this was one of the aha moments for like why AI doesn't hallucinate and does such a wonderful job with event modeling and event sourcing. You don't have that anywhere else. Problem is, I'm going to try to make it a little bit more compact so that it can see that there's multiple timelines here. Like OCR this. I don't want to see this page tabs, guides. How did can I turn this off? Oh, this page tabs thing. I don't want to see it. Yeah, definitely get rid of page tabs. Go away. Tooltips is just floating over it. View. Okay, I don't know what that got rid of, but whatever. Just trying to get more real estate here so I can get a higher resolution image. The other thing is, of course, I want this thing to be just an HTML view of stuff, right? I mean, that's the other thing, is like the other project that I'm working on is the AI version of this. Okay, I'm almost there. I can make this a little bit more like shrink it a little bit more and still keep it legible. So let's move this up a little bit. I know I could probably find some alignment thing in Draw.io. Ugh, it is a piece of work, this thing. So yeah, I definitely want like HTML version of this ASAP. Because yeah, moving all of this stuff around here, yeah, the canvas stuff gets boring really quickly as soon as you have a good convention. You do not want to be finagling these things by hand for longer than you need. Okay, this also is too wide that way. Just a little more thing. A couple more minutes of getting these things to behave. And then we can take a nice screenshot and feed it into the AI and see if we can repeat the success that we had previously. It's a little too wide. And let's move this up. You know what? The keyboard's faster for some of this. That's aligned or not. That's fine. Okay. That looks good. That looks good. Oops, don't want to hit that. Out of there. Get out of there. Okay. This up a little bit more. And then the arrow. Shrink that up. So maybe that's another thing we can do today, is actually just see if we can get an HTML version of this that can be fed JSON to display that, and then we can make an editor that just does this, and in that way we can, especially if we learn Draw.io syntax underneath. Why did I do that? Ugh. We could do quite a lot here. All right, so we seem to have gotten all of this to kind of make sense. I don't like the fact that we have increasing numbers in here. That might give AI some idea that there's some ordering here, and we might have a problem with the example. Now that's a criticism of me using silly IDs here, not of the AI. I can see how I could mislead someone or AI by using these increasing numbers in here to kind of give it a sense of like, hey, maybe these are growing IDs. So let's do a screenshot here. How do I do a screenshot? There we go. Got the right key combination. Okay, so this is the image of our to do gen conf ID SV specification. So if I copy this, I can now open up my AI. Whoa, that is not what I wanted. I wanted the okay, I wanted this. I don't want that. Make a set of tests for to do gen conf id v as specified in this event model slice given then I think that's good enough. Let's see. I've noticed that there is some event modeling in the training data for AI stuff, so it's been kind of, it gets thrown off by other event driven noise out there, but with good prompting, I think you can get quite a lot. I was able to get a lot last year already. It's just getting better. So if I press Control V, okay, it has that. It has the image, it has the app.js as the context. I don't want it to pull any other code from the solution. So I'm not going to do it with Codebase. I'm just going to do it with this. Okay, good. So it has the same structure. That's a good start. I'm not going to accept it blindly. I'm just going to look at what we have right now. So the slice name is a room state view. Ooh, it's got multiple timelines. This is good. Okay, this is really good. So here we have slice test. It's using the same array to push another slice in. To do genconf id state view. Okay, that is correct. The timeline name is happy path. It is happy path. Okay, it's using the lowercase. That's okay though. The checkpoint, we do have a blank one. It does have unidentified. Okay. There is a to-dos. Now, is our state really, what do we return in our, I want to split this again. I want to really go through this piece by piece because this is very promising so far. But let's see, I'd be shocked if it gets everything right. Let's go to our implementation, which should be up above, right? Right, so we have this where it does return the okay, is this the right one? No, that's room state view. Blah, 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 blah. This is the to-do list. That's the implementation. Okay. So we're looking at the implementation, but what else do we want to check? Oh yeah, so we want to look at the implementation, but we also want to look at the tests. The test structure from the other one, sorry. So that's what's confusing here. So we have, what does this thing return? To-dos, it has a to-dos, and it does return the to-dos. That is the state. Just like we had rooms here, it has the to-dos here. Okay. Okay, so we are good for that. I just want to see a little more. I want to see a lot more. Conf ID is that. Okay, that looks very familiar. We are doing that. One to do will be the conf ID should be empty. Wow, okay. Empty conf ID should be added when ID is requested. Conf ID should be populated when generated. One to do should be okay. Oh, wow. Now, what would be interesting, so how many did it have? Idempotent processor, it does have that. It does have a happy path, but it didn't pick up the bottom. It doesn't have this last one, I don't think. If no request. So I'm not happy about that. I'm going to reprompt it. So it almost got it. Why is it missing the third timeline? The timelines are denoted by a title and an arrow to the left. It is read top down. So, okay, that was fairly ambitious to have it all done. So it got 2/3 of it done, but I'm shocked that the important parts that were done were the was the syntax that would actually fit with a test runner. So this is crazy. So happy path, idempotent processor, ignore. Okay, it's got 3. This is crazy. It did do it. Why is this in here? Collapse. Why was that? Oh, I see. I clicked on that guy. Okay. Let's open this up a little more here and see what we have. Okay, so we have the slice name, correct. We have the happy path timeline, correct. We have, what is the first thing? It failed. So see, should create empty to do when requested. I need this. I need it to hold on. It's ignoring stuff until it sees an event. Okay, so it got it by fluke the first time. There is a test case for each. There's a test. Each instance of the state view example will have a unit test. Let's try that again. I don't want it with the code base, just want it with that. Okay. Nope. Stop right there. Some. An initial test may have no events in history yet. And I'm actually surprised it's doing that because we have that as a test. Okay, it has the unidentified. Okay, so we fixed that with the prompt, which is good. Yeah, idempotent processor. That's really good. Notice that it didn't generate anything about the labels. So that's another thing. But it shouldn't, right? I guess this is just... No, but it should have... when you find a green... Okay, so yeah, there we go. So maybe that's what I do. because I want those to be in there. I do have an example in here with that. Where is that example? Somewhere in here I threw in a, where did it go? Function, blah, blah, blah. Progress marker. Yes, progress markers. So, okay, if I actually reference the existing code in this file to do that, include the progress markers that are in green in the test array. All right, let's see what happens now. Good, blank event at the beginning. Progress marker. Oh my gosh. Okay, I did put it in. We're onto something here. Okay, we got the second timeline. Do we have another label? Yes. Did it skip? It skipped the test though. Okay, so we have a problem. A duplicate request of an ID. Yeah, it skipped the flip side, where we have an event. Do not skip any events. Events are in yellow. Do not skip any, as they're important for the accumulation. Okay. Yellow. Don't skip any. They have an entry and are crucial for a complete history. The test and state view can be undefined in this case. This entry. Okay, is that I hate long prompts, so I'm going to try and whittle this down to something. It also has an example of this already. I don't know if the example actually has a blank there. So let's see. Let's go back, see if it did that extra prompting screw up what it was already working. No, it seems to be good so far. Has the progress marker where it belongs? Yes. It's got a problem. It's got timelines. Timelines are a problem. So it did screw it up. So this prompt's too long. Let's make sure we define what that is. Start from the beginning. Make a test array for the given then image. Events are in yellow. State views are in green. Boxes, let's do boxes. Where no event is present, still provide the state view and a test. Where no state view is present, provide the event, but where no state view is present, provide the event, but no test. Each timeline from, and so this will be for to do gen conf id sv unit tests each timeline is denoted by a name and an arrow on the left. The diagram is red top to bottom. I wonder if I could just add another. I really want another code example with the multiple timelines, and then I could feed it in there as an example, or an image and a second reference image and an implementation. So maybe we do that, is see if that'll work, but let's just see what happens. Okay, good. Blank event. Basic structure is good. So far, we should have 5 tests at the top. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tests. Yes, the top test should have an undefined event. We have a second timeline. Processor is endpoint, pulled that correctly. Event. Nope. It still has a problem. It did not. Okay, so I'm wondering if, so I was talking about this to Martin yesterday, and I'm wondering if providing a background rectangle for the timeline and then of course we may have to have rectangles for each checkpoint. I don't know if that's. Now, if I translate this to a JSON instead of an image and ask it to do that, it should be a lot easier, right? I could use, yeah, I mean, I could do another prompt here to say you're missing something, but I'd rather have it get it right because it's literally spelled out for it. Like you have 4 rows here of information. And so this middle timeline should have not just 3. It looks like it just took, first of all, it took 2 states that it had here. So it's not, it does not understand this part of the prompt. This is the problem with not enough event sourcing examples in the learning stuff or the material that this is trained on. So I think if I take this and say make a JSON structure out of this, this will do it. So I'm going to copy this so it's in my clipboard history. But I'm going to say, give me a JSON structure for this image. For the as an array of timelines. Where each timeline is an array of checkpoints. Checkpoints. See what it does there. So if it does this, and we can get it to understand the image, then we can okay, let's see if it actually okay, let's break it up into steps. So if we can do this, so we got multiple timelines. We have happy path timeline, we have a blank event, a state view with nothing in that. This is wrong. No, this state view has no value. This is an empty array. Next event. Okay, it did miss the first row again. So I have to say each row is an entry. Checkpoints. You will find a checkpoint entry as a row. Events can be undefined. State views can be undefined. Okay, let's see if that's okay. Wrong right away. We have an event immediately. So it just does not know how to deal with this. I think having I think we have to have an image beneath everything, because if this was a grid, I think it would be easier. It certainly worked very, very fast with having no blanks here. I mean, the reason I have this as a blank here is I don't want to test here, but I could put, I mean, I'd have to mark which ones to generate a test for, and then which ones to ignore, which is bad. I needed to just interpret this. Oh, yeah, there's a Alberta John. If you have a question, go ahead and type it in. Sorry, I didn't notice you asking. Type it in, and I'll do that. If you want to just ask on Discord, more in private, just on the general channel, others can also answer that question. So up to you. Let me see here. Pull up the Discord, at least on my phone. And we got live stream chat. Yeah, I can see that. And but yeah, if you want to go to the Discord, just go to eventmodeling.org and /resources, as you see on the screen there. There's a Discord you can join, and then you can ask me in the general chat, and that way others will see the question as well. You can also just ask in the live stream chat, which will pop up here on the chat that's streaming. So up to you. But anyway, I'll wait and see where that pops up. Otherwise, I want to not waste too much time on AI. It's disappointing today. I was very happy with it last time because it generated the implementation, which was really cool. Here we already have the implementation. We're asking for it to use this diagram to generate the tests. Which is, I mean, it's okay. We have this idempotent processor. It is skipping that. So I think maybe if we just prompt it a little better. Array, okay. This image is an array of timelines. Okay, denoted by the arrows. Arrow checkpoints as a row. Do not skip any rows. Not skip any rows. I really have to talk to it like a kid, right? All right. Sorry, I wanted to see when Alberta John asked that. That was like, how long ago? It's like 4:30. Oh yeah, like 20 minutes ago. So yeah, sorry, I didn't see that question. What did it do now? Let's see. Oh, it's even worse. Yeah. It's even worse. How come it got it so well in like the first prompt? I kind of wish I kept that prompt around. Because, okay, let's just give it something simple. Give me all the tests. Maybe I'm saying too much. So I think the first time we ran it, it skipped the blank event. Don't skip undefined events. I'm not going to add any more to this prompt until I get this next sentence right so that it includes that. Okay, that did it. Okay, good. So that's good. So it's probably happy path. Yes. Then it has requested, generated, requested, generated, and that's the last one. So it got that. Next one, it has event undefined conference. Okay, that is bad. In idempotent processor. Okay. Don't skip undefined events or undefined state views. I'll put SV. Actually, no. Let's just see if I mean, next, if it does skip it, I'm going to put SV in there as well. See if it, okay. Event is undefined. So far, so good. We have to retest everything that it's got. Okay. In that first one, we have 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we get to the next one. And this one we have 4. Oh, no, we have 4. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's hallucinating on the state views. Okay, don't skip undefined events. Like this or is probably confusing it because it needs to make some logic. So I can just say don't. Okay. State views can be defined. undefined. No. Don't create tests where state views are undefined. This is very tough for it to get right. But still create a checkpoint. I think I need to reiterate that it has to go row by row. It's getting this first part right. It's good that it's not second guessing this first part. No, it has no clue that it can have an undefined state and no test. So we have to say don't create. Okay. Whoops. Is it still generating stuff? Why is it blank? Oh, okay. Okay, so that's not good. Don't skip undefined events works. Say a checkpoint with only an event. Maybe it can't recognize which is an event, which is checkpoint with only an event. Give me all the tests where state views exist. Give me a history array. Add tests where state view is defined. Don't skip undefined events. Yeah, this is going to require a few things. Okay, so it does that again correctly. I'm wondering if I have to say any more about the colors, that there's columns of these things, etc. Yeah, it's not doing that. Okay. So give me a okay, give me a history array for each timeline. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. I'm wondering if it'll use... Okay, it's probably getting thrown by this because this doesn't have any tests where we don't have a sparse array. So this is the problem. So obviously we have an example where we have a test for everything, and that's the implementation. So I think that's the implementation that's causing an issue here. It's looking at this code and we don't have an example of something with, you know, a blank state. So if I had So if I make an example here where I add another CS200 and make it benign and have yeah, maybe that's what I'll do is I'll add another I'll add one more thing here for something that doesn't have a test. Room deleted event. So maybe I'll make a deleted I'm trying to think of a valid way to put in something logically that is redundant in here. That I don't have to test. So that means I can have a blank state view because I need a blank state view and no test to show that it's okay to just have an event. It's using this code and I don't have an example for this. That's why it's getting thrown off. I want something to be a little bit more valid though. And I want the event to be type room added event. And I want okay, I don't want, do I want it up here? 2 rooms. Okay, so a third room. Okay, so let's add a third room. And in this case, there's no state. And there's no test. Room state and test is blank. So state undefined, test undefined. And we just need a comma here. Okay, so if I have that, I shouldn't because now we have that possibility. Okay, event is undefined. So yeah, I think we've been thrown off by the code. There was no example for it to look at where we actually have, you know, an event but no state or test. So yeah, ignoring properties when no request. Here's the structure. No, it's slice. Ensure all rows are included to make a complete storyline. Okay, so undefined's going in. Now, I don't want to spend any more time on this because I think with really good examples, it's going to write itself anyway. This is a good start. I think if I have, let's just see how well it did. I want, or maybe I just copy paste that as code. So, okay, so we have that 5 is good. Then we have this test. Do I have any state with a null? No, I don't. Okay, so it's doing 1, 2, 3, 4. We have these, and it's giving me a state for each one of those. I'm just doing ensure that state and test are undefined where only an event exists. Events are yellow. State views are green. I know I shouldn't have. It's a bad experiment. I shouldn't have added the extra thing. Yeah, it's totally getting thrown off with that. It does not know what an event is, etc. So if we do, I'm wondering if we actually have the name event in here, whether that would be better. It's weird. It has unique ID request event, and it has state view undefined. So it's got it twice. It's doing state views that are undefined. So no, that's a no-go. So this last thing is totally bad. If I do have an, okay. Just copy this. Oops. Cancel. Shift enter. Control V. Where no event is present. Where online event. Do this for that row. Okay. Where only state view is present. Do this for that row. And here we can undefined. Here we can do state is something. And then we can have CS300, and then we can, oops. Here we can pull out one of these functions. I want the smaller test. That's not so gigantic as the example. Function blah, blah, blah. That should be good. Copy. Where both defined in a row do this. And I'll just pull out another one that's got both. There's an event, blah, 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 that guy. Control copy, and then here, paste that. All right, let me, couldn't spell it out better than this. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 entries, and the first one did have a, oh, wait a second. No. Okay, it's not doing the sections. For each, okay, and then for each arrow and the timeline, do this. Okay, so just taking the other approach of me being extremely descriptive for each progress marker in the diagram, and do this. And then here we can add, where did I have my example? Define undefined function. Oh, there it is, progress marker. Control copy and try that. And the checkpoints. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Oh, it got the marker in there. Good. Okay, so I guess we just have to be very prescriptive. And it's not splitting it up. Okay. Timelines. I think I need to do timelines this. So it's not doing the timelines. Okay. Okay, I'm saying add another array like this. So let's see what happens. Okay, it's failing again. It's getting the markers, but it missed the first blank event. I was getting two go through each row. Do not skip any rows. Do not skip any rows. Nope, not doing it. Okay, it's actually gotten worse. I think it's the context window's too small for this now. I've added way too much. I should have just comments here. So let's make this smaller. So I don't want this kind of stuff here. I want this I want to have a star dot event body. Make it generic. I think that's the other thing, is that we're getting too and that also has a missing quote, so state object function unit test function goes here. Okay. And then here, so here I can just copy this. Get rid of this. And then state of this. And then do this here. Here, progress marker text. Okay, I do want to try this with just basically representing the this graph instead of having an image, because I think we've pushed this as far as it'll go for OCR. Is I can very easily grab what I have here and just make it into a JSON object. It kind of already gave me that. Let's see if it did this. Yeah, this is bad. It's not This is not good. I'm wondering if these are too close. I had to squeeze them in. So let's get this image as a JSON object. And just work off of that to edit that to be what it needs to be. And then, because we're quite close to actually getting the tooling to generate this. And I know that if I'll be able to tab complete this very easily, even if I even though I started to write some of this stuff, because I have enough code examples there that it would prompt me correctly for things. But I do want to go from this happy path thing to generate a JSON object. If I highlight something here in Draw.io and run some sort of utility to get me the JSON equivalent of what's in the boxes here, then I will be able to just generate this code a lot more easily, because it does know what to do. I mean, the other way of doing this, to actually have it implement the actual source code, the actual state view, was exceptionally good. That was really awesome. It really knows what this example data wants to do. And maybe that's it. Like, maybe if I just took away the state view code and say generate the code and test for this, it might do it, right? So we'll try it as well. But for now, I just want to get some JSON from this. Come on. It's annoying. Make JSON for this image. That's gonna be implementation. Okay, so I can't have all of this stuff, so just cancel this. Yeah, it's not getting this, it's getting it backwards here. Okay, let's get rid of the rest. So the AI wasn't as good as before, at least not for this task. It was good for the previous task. What is going on? Control A, delete, make JSON for this structure with multiple timelines. No, not code. Stop. No code, just the JSON object. And I guess I don't want this. Let's just see if we go without that. That's pretty bad, because it have the events. It has a stupid... Why does it have timestamps? Where did it get that from? I did this without looking at the code. Oh, that's my pre-prompt. So if I go to like my cursor pre-prompt, then that's what it'll be. So I guess I could just look at well, let's see. The other thing I was wondering is, if I make another profile in Cursor AI, does that change the prompt? So I'm gonna open up Kate, because I want this to Preferences. Oh, it's cursor settings, right? Preferences, cursor settings. And then, okay, it's kind of like hidden in here. This thing, right? So I don't want this. Control B. Paste that here. I think I saved this somewhere. So now that I have rules for AI, include cursor rules file is off, and we do not. Oh, I guess I could make a specific thing for this with a .cursor file. Okay, anyway, I'll do that another time. But now if I run this, it shouldn't be affected by. That looks better. Sort of. I basically want to give it a few more things. ELO is events. That looks better. Nice and minimal. Okay, good. So we have, yep, that's good. And I think we have a green text is checkpoint or progress marker. Include an array. Okay, so I think we just have to break down the problem to something like this. Events, state views. Okay, no. Okay, so it's doing this the wrong way. In the array. Okay, each row is a checkpoint. Okay, it thinks there could be multiple events for checkpoint. Multiple events are not allowed in one checkpoint. So no array of events. Same for state views. I'm telling you, this is more work than it is to code sometimes, but I do want to kind of explore what it understands. Okay, that's better. Okay, why does it, this is very weird. It really insists on skipping, even though it's not looking at the code, it insists on skipping the rows where there is a null event. So state view is null. That's good. But here, yeah. An event or a state can be null in a checkpoint. Yeah, wrong thing. Again, it's not looking at go row by row, top to bottom. Go top to bottom. Row by row. God. Still, wrong way around. Where is getting this event requested? Where is the blank one? A blank event is a null, and a blank state view is null. Nope. It's really interesting how it got the first thing. So let's just use this as the basis of copying this to somewhere like here. Oh, it didn't finish. And just handwrite the rest of this and see if we actually get what we expect. Out of this whole thing. So we have a timeline. Actually, no, we have checkpoints. And we don't need checkpoint 1 and all that crap. The first checkpoint's actually going to be, and you know what, I'm going to make this is going to write itself if I put it in here. I wonder how I could add the image of that damn thing into the context of, if I save that image, can I save this image as a file and add it as a collapse remove? I don't know even if I have that in my, oh, actually I have that in the screenshot thing, don't I? Okay, yeah, let's save this as, and go up to dev. Let's go to Como Camp. And here we will call it, sure, the screenshot, why not? And then I will add a new text file. And file save as. Cancel. Yeah, I don't want to do anything there. I do want to bring back. Oh, did I just destroy that? Oh well, whatever. I have enough example code in here now anyway. I think I saved that somewhere else. Okay, so let's have the screenshot. I want to do a new file here called specs. And then I can paste that here. And here I can do slice. And here I can do knows checkpoints, yes. And we know an event, yes. And then, see, it doesn't interpret the screenshots. But anyway, this will be event is null. And the state view is, well, let's just go to our, so we don't really need our chat for now. We can go to our draw.io and we can just copy the contents of this. And the state view will be that. Don't want any of that stuff. This is a pain in the butt. Yeah, so we have, is it valid JSON to have a single quote? No. Double quote and then tab that, sure. That's fine. Timelines, checkpoints. Okay, checkpoints. So the next one will be, and then here we have an event. And then we have unique UID. How does it know that? It's just plain creepy. Where did I did not define this anywhere. Is it just looking at the old conversations it had? I'm guessing. ID provided. What the? Okay, or is it reading that spec? That's pretty creepy. Yeah, but we now need to, okay, state event null, the requested, provided. Notice it's using the text from the image. Is it looking at the XML of the draw.io? Wow. I guess it is. Okay, well, that's kind of interesting. So what I'm thinking is if there is better encoding, then we could actually have Cursor AI just really know what to do. If yeah, this is pretty fantastic. So I'm pleasantly surprised that it somehow knows what the drawing is in Draw.io. Conf ID provided, that string is only found in the XML. I'm guessing it's not doing any OCR on the image that I saved. If it is, that's crazy. I think it's the XML. I think it's just finding whatever makes sense because it's not pulling in the second request behaves the same way, but I bet it'll autocomplete it after the 2 events that we have. So no, I don't want that. Escape, stop filling in all these other things. Okay, escape. Shift that, escape, and we want, in this case, we want progress. Where did it know progress marker? Okay, that's not in the XML. Oh, it's grabbing some things from that before. Look at that. The processor is idempotent. Or that must be from the previous stuff we pasted in. So you know, second. Okay, second request behaves the same way. Where did I get that? Or is it the same thing here? Did it put it in here? Oh yeah, it's probably this. Okay, so it's getting this from here, which is fine. Okay, that solves it. So we did actually paste in the rest of this. Okay, it's not as smart as I thought. So that's good. So the next one is this timelines. Okay, so requested is that, and then provided. Okay, so it kind of writes itself if I pasted in most of it that I got right, and then I just allow it to go and do its thing. That is not good. It's not null. That's better, yeah. Interesting. The other problem is, how do we escape quotes in JSON? Because this value in our code was double quotes. I'm not sure if that's going to cause issues, but let's see what happens. So we have how many events? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's it for this one. So now we get rid of the checkpoints. Oops. And then we get rid of the timeline. And now we make another timeline. So, comma. And then we get timelines have names. So the name is Happy Path. Happy Path. So it had that in the text before. The processor is idempotent. Okay. Checkpoints is this. Let's see. It's going to be a long stream, but I really want to get through this because once I get this done, I think implementing the rest of the slices with a lot of AI in it is going to be extremely fast. Name, checkpoints. I don't want a progress marker. We have event is null. What did it do? Get rid of that. Checkpoints, event. What? I guess it has to have the stupid quotes. And no, state view is not null. And it's not type. Oh, it is. Data is. And actually, no, event is not null in here. Okay, so let's go back. And an event actually does have the type unique requested. The state view is null. Yeah, good. That's actually what we need. And then we have a marker. And what do we call that thing? Progress marker. A duplicate request of an ID. will be ignored. Okay, so it's nice that it actually at least found all the text so it can use it as a lookup. And then of course there's nothing else here because that's just a marker. And then here we'll have an event requested, and then a state view is not null. We actually have to do conf IDs, and it's to generate, because it's truncating things here. And so the other problem here is that this is only testing one thing. So the slice is actually testing the slice has a name. Why did that get rid of that? Okay, no, the slice has a name, and that is the to-do IDs. To-do conf ID generator. That's what it is. So now we could just have it as a blank because that's up there. So that's repetitive. And that's good. Event, and then get rid of this. This is just a collection of these things. I think that's clear. Progress. Okay, I don't need this as nulls. So I want those to be undefined. That is valid. Then, of course, I want this to be gone. And then conf ID provided is, yes, that, and value is that. Do we actually call that? Yeah, it's value. Okay, that's fine. State view, and then. So that's the thing, is that we can have a different structure here. On the diagram, we do identify the name just to be clear to the business, but in the specification we know that everything in the slice is referring to one type of state view. So let's see, so we got to, okay, did we finish the happy path here? Requested, provided, and yes, so that's the second request, and we said second request the same way. Yes, and then we have this other next timeline, which is here a processor is idempotent. We have an event as the first thing, and the state view is null. So actually I don't want to have that. I want to show that it just is that and nothing else. And then we do have a progress marker. Duplicate will be ignored. And then we have this unique ID is requested again. And then, of course, we show the state view here. And what is our state view? State view is just, there's no... Okay, this is an interesting thing. Do we show the state view as something that's valid JSON, or do we let it be interpreted as text so we could have anything we want in there? I think we just do it as a text, as we've had here. So that means, I mean, we may back out of this decision, but for now, I think this is kind of the way things will work best. And so processors idempotent, so we have that. So even though we had one before and another one then, we still go ahead and make one there. And here we have an event. That's after the duplicate is done. So then conf provided is that. And then we don't have a state view in here. So that's important. State view. And then we have, okay, we're almost at the end of this. So anyway, if you're still with me, this is amazing that you've been able to weather this. It's pretty boring, but I think the goal here is quite ambitious. We're really going to be able to do a no-code solution that isn't unscalable and all these other problems that we have with these frameworks that are popping up. I think this is the level of discipline that you need to make these things work without hallucinations and to have them reliable. So yeah, if you're into AI, this should get you thinking. So okay, where are we here? Probably a duplicate of a request, and then we have 2 events. Yep. And then we have a duplicate of a provision. So we have 2 things after that, and we have a progress marker. And here we have a duplicate provision of an ID will be ignored. Okay, this is amazing. The amount of stuff that's predicted here. Pretty good. So that's that. And now we have an event. And this is the duplicate with the 4456. Yes. And we do have a state view. And we still have the old one, 3356. So, okay, this is crazy that it actually does know to keep the old one. That's just bonkers. And so this is the timelines, checkpoints. This is the timeline, so we need another timeline. And this event is actually not that event type, is the other one. Conf ID. Yeah. And that's that. And then we don't actually have any more. Get rid of the rest of them. But we do have a state view. And in this state view, we have nothing because we never asked for anything. So wait. Yes, so this is checkpoints. And in this checkpoints, we only have one event and state view. That's all we need to show for this. And the event type value provided 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. And then state view is blank. It has nothing. Because that's correct. It didn't have anything in the history that would show that. Okay, so we're really asking a lot of the AI here. But at least we have a textual representation of this. So to review, we basically put into JSON format this spec with the happy path, then the idempotent piece, which has these 4 steps and these 2 labels along the way, these progress markers. And then we have this, and the top one has 1 progress marker in here. Okay, I definitely could make something that is, I don't know if I can export this. I'm wondering if I could export these things from Draw.io. What if I copy this? What does it look like on the... It's nothing. Text plain. That's all it is. Huh. So what does it look like? Oh, I didn't copy it. What? Edit. Copy. Does it not copy here? Oh, it doesn't. Huh. Do I have to export? Export diagrams to SVG. Oh. And that's a complete diagram. So okay, so there's not much that you can do if you highlight this stuff. And then yeah. Find, replace, select vertices. So okay, I'm gonna have to do a bit more research on here. Or let's see if there's anything in extras. Edit diagram. I don't want that. View, outline, scale, edit data. Yeah, probably doesn't have anything. There is this embed of putting stuff in, but this is probably just manipulating the XML when it's saved. I think that's the only thing we can do. But I'm curious if I could just be able to interrogate the XML for the IDs of all the things in Draw.io and insert into that XML something like this from here. So anyway. So now that we have this, I don't know how correct it is. I mean, I've been letting it autocomplete a few things. So let's just double check it that we have what we expect. And then I'm going to say, okay, so we have nothing here, and this generator has nothing. And then we have an event of this unique requested, and this to-do list has a value of nothing, like an empty value to mark it. And then we have an event that we provide that ID, and then that ID ends up in the stage view. Okay, and then we have a progress marker describing what's going on and what we're about to do. And then we have unique requested. Yep, and then we have that. Now, do I rename these things to what they are in code? I think I may have to do that. So I don't want to make this any more difficult. It's already had some trouble with this. I don't want to have to translate all of this. So now if we do the example of the here. Will it please know that I'm trying to... Okay, good. It's doing it. It's doing it. Yep. 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 Perfect. That's exactly... We want to use the same things that we use in the code. This will make it blatantly obvious what it needs to do. Okay, so let's continue looking at it. So we went through this conference ID event provided. This is why we always use the same names in the event model as we use in the code. That makes it a lot easier. Okay, Alberto John went away, didn't ask his question. So, let's see. I don't know how much we are into this already, but 3 hours. Okay, well, I wanted to finish this today, so I'm glad that it's going this long. So the next thing here is, I think we're done with this one. That did it correctly. And oh, the name of this thing has to be in here. So that is the SV, and it's not the SV. What the hell is it called? To-do gen. To-do conference ID generator. Is that what it is? To-do gen conf ID SV. It has to be mapped to this. I wanted to know that that is and yeah, sorry that it's a cryptic gross name. I wanted to match exactly what it is in code. And so, okay, so one checkpoint here. The processor is independent. Then we have an event of type unique ID requested. Duplicate of a request is ignored. So it just shows that there is only one object in there. Then we have a provision of that, and then a duplicate provision of another ID will be ignored. So even though it's that, it keeps what it's supposed to be. And then we have the last one. If no, blah, 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 then yeah, checkpoints event is this, and we didn't have a request, so that stays empty. Okay, so that is the textual representation of what we have here. We can save this, bring up our generator, make a new one, go back to this and say, get rid of the package JSON. Why would it do that? Okay, add tests for to-do gen conf ID SV according to spec. I guess we'll see what happens. Good. Event unidentified. Okay, so we're back to square one here. Oh god, I hope it works. And you can't get more blatant about that. So we took the OCR part of like not recognizing rows and all that. It's actually writing the tests too. So okay, the top one is good, unidentified. It did that. It interpreted this. Yes, yes, yes. But it is missing. Oh, that is a pain in the ass. Timelines. Timeline. Okay, and it. Okay. Don't. It doesn't need that, does it? No, it doesn't. This code does not need the labels. The labels are there for the spec. So this is good. Maybe that was the problem. We were trying to do too much on the previous try with the stupid markers on there. We shouldn't have insisted that it puts the markers in. Although it would be nice to have the markers as part of the output of your test runner. Let's try that. The test runner should output any progress markers it comes across. So don't forget them. This will be fun. It's getting event, history, and state. This is really good. Oh, nice. And let's see if it updates the code for the test runner. Okay, but it didn't, I want it to actually adjust. I forget them. Adjust the test runner code if necessary. Okay, so it's got that right still. It's got that right. It has the progress marker. This is amazing. I mean, it should literally just be translating the JSON at this point. It's quite easily spelled out to it. I like that it's ignoring the state views by just... Oh, wow. What is that? Oh, because of the emojis. Oh, the AI gets thrown off with the emojis. That's too funny. Let's do it again. Very careful about the emojis. This is too funny. Okay. Yeah, because we have these little nice terminal output with these little emojis, so it's throwing it. That's too funny. Okay, this is really good. Okay, what I'm seeing is repeatable stuff, so I think the hallucination is below 50% at least, because we're getting all the stuff we were struggling with is gone. It's not including state views in the entries on the checkpoints as that are missing the state views. It's including the progress markers, and yeah, it's also, but is it adding the events? Yes, it's adding the events that don't have any state views or tests, and therefore tests with them. Oh, this is really good. So yeah, event state test, event state test, progress marker, no test, just event, no test. Perfect. Okay. This is really good. So yeah, there's definitely a two-pass thing here. We really need to find a better format for putting the draw IO stuff. So I'm going to experiment with kind of how we have the progress here. Notice that like same color, same writing, and it's the rectangle. See if we can do that, and then see if we can use grouping to basically use XML Starlet or some other command line thing to extract from the XML. Draw.io is an XML document, and we could probably, if we have a convention, export all that as XML, and that'll be just fine. It'll be just fine. It'll be just like JSON. So we'll be able to find everything that we need. And if we pass it in through here, we should get these things. Now, I don't know if these tests will pass, but so far it looks pretty good. I don't know what this will do, so I'm going to get rid of that test runner thing. I think we can just allow, we'll just, if we have a problem with the progress markers, I'm going to I'm going to just handwrite that with the AI assisting me there. So, okay, we're running this like for the 4th time at least. And so far, this is doing exactly at first blush what it's supposed to be doing. No hallucination yet. Yeah, progress markers are being put where they're supposed to be. Each state has a test associated with it. Let's double check that. Progress marker, state, state, state. Do we have events? Oh, no, it's actually missing. Nope, there's the first one that's missing, so that's missing. But we don't have success on here. This is hallucinating. That first checkpoint. Add test, the test runner should output any progress marker. Okay, yeah. Don't add tests. Check to a checkpoint that has no state view. Okay, so it's still got the first one where there's no event. That's good. Okay, so far so good. Getting the progress marker. So that's the first hallucination that we saw. It's funny that it was only after we asked for the test runner output. Here we have the blank event with no testing. That's good. And then we have something that has an event and that, which is this one down here. And then we have an event, which is this one down here. We have another progress marker, the one down here. And here we're testing both again. So we do have events with no state views or tests. Okay, so I think I'm happy with this. Sort of. I don't know where it'll put it, but let's apply this. It's pretty brave of us to do this, eh? Let's see what happens. So it put it below where I'd expected it would, probably besides those, but we really want to sprinkle those into the implementation. For now, I'll just accept it, and we'll organize the code later. And now we'll slowly debug this if necessary. Okay, that's really creepy that I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Okay, it did it. But a deleted room should maintain order of remaining rooms. Test. Oh, I think it's because I added that other little example. Remember that little bit of code that I added to just show a better template? I think that's actually throwing, yeah, it's throwing the assertions because we have another room added. So deletion of the room test is being affected by that. So if we go, close this down. Let's just get rid of that extra stupid thing that we put in here just to make an example. So yeah, this CS300. So this test is, yeah, 2 rooms should be returned as failing, right? And I think the assertions, I think our test runner should be better. We should have the reason why things are failing, not just in the console log, but our assert thing. We'll have to add that today. So all you testing junkies out there, we spent the entire time scratching your itch of testing. So whether you like TDD or not, or you're just doing testing in another way, this should be quite fun for you. Okay. So I will get rid of that. Actually, no, I'm going to use that as a way to add this assertion thing so that no rooms should be returned. So, okay, so each assert has a message and we're not getting that message. So the test has, okay, it has event history, it has state, but it returns, okay, what do we do in the test runner for returning? So I think we have, do we have an if around it in our test? I forget how we did this. Checkpoint tests. So it does that. So it's expected to throw. So we could return a message. So let's do that. Const failure message, oops, equals that. Actually, no. It should throw that, shouldn't it? Because if it fails, I think we're using a throwing mechanism here, right? Yeah, so anytime that we only rely on throwing errors to have a test failure. And I mean, I could go here to say why it failed. 2 rooms should be returned, right? Okay, so that's fine, but I should have that in this checkpoint. And I do want it. So what does error have from the asserts? So it just has this error message. Now, if it fails because of an exception, I guess we'll have to scroll up and to see the details, but I do want the error name in here. Test failed in blah, 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 and then due to error message. Okay, I think that should be better. I think that's all we need. Okay, I'm glad that was only that. So now let's take a look. Okay, test failed. Deleted rooms should remain in order. Remaining rooms, 2 rooms should be returned. Okay, so yeah, obviously we have, yeah, we have something unexpected there. Maybe this is over specification because we don't really care about that. We just care about, maybe we fix it another way. Maybe we fix it by improving the logic here. So do I care about that? No. First room should be main hall. No, I really want to make sure that it doesn't contain that. This is like over specification. So I think we can say assert in space we want result that contains or doesn't includes, right? Includes state room. Dot for each. Is that's not correct. Is there like a reduce? Reduce. There we go. I like that. Everything's a reduction. And then we can get rid of the rest of the asserts. And that should be fine. And we'll test it. Oh, we'll get rid of the deletion thing. This should make it pass. Nope. Should not be in. State. Oh, it's trying to do the state. Okay, so the state is that, but here we actually want to that should make it pass. We don't want to look at the state explicitly. Is that going to pass? No. CS200, CS100. Okay. No, 200. It's 200. And that's not the state. So results reduce for all the rooms. So if room doesn't equal, so it's true. Is that just an inverse thing? I think it always gets the inverse right, wrong, the wrong way around. So okay, that passes, but now let's just actually get rid of the handling of the deletion of the room. Did it put it below here? Rooms. Where's the rooms state view? Rooms state view. Room state view. So okay, so if we just break here and not handle it, it should break just the deletions. Yes. CS200 should not be in the results set. Okay, and then get rid of that. And now it's fixed. Yep, okay. So this looks like a fun way to show the test summary. And I just can't believe that all this stuff worked right away. That's crazy. And we get the timeline testing and all that. Let's just work on some of the formatting. We have a space problem there, just spacing. Year end. Okay, this looks really good. Let's see. So spacing here is a... Why? Really? How is that space not printing? Testing the timeline. This little clock is... Why is that? I need another space here? Okay. It's bizarre. So it looks like the... Or maybe it's this quoting. But that looks fine. This has a space. This has two spaces, which needed would... Yeah. The clock emoji is kind of wonky, I guess. Whatever. And then we have an extra space for indentation for these things. That's good. And the other thing that we're missing is the messages. So we do want to do all of this, but then also if checkpoint dot, not state, but progress marker. So I think we can do progress marker. We can do summary, and then plus equals, and then a ternary operator, your favorite. And I'm going to delete all this other stuff. Do you know what I want? Yes, you do. Oh, wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. I think we are missing one more indent, but I think I got it. Will that work? Oh, wow, that is really nice and descriptive. Look at that. So, if we ever look at a bunch of tests, did it actually run? I think it's stuck. No, it's there. Was that taking too long? Is that an issue here? No, it runs fast. Okay. So yeah, we have. So even where we stuck that in just for fun here. I do want to have. It would be nice for this test to read, kind of redisplay what we have in the state view, like in the tests. Like if there was a. Oh my goodness. Yeah, imagine if that was the same format as. Okay, so we know that this is this, but we need to display the events. Is that too much? I think it's too much because I think we have the tests named already when no event exists. So we know that this timeline is the first thing. There's no event. Then, yeah, and confidence should be updated when generated. Okay. It's the same way. Second request. Yeah. Okay. This reads nicely. Okay. So test timeline. A processor is idempotent. So a duplicate request of ID will be ignored. Test pass duplicate request should be ignored. Duplicate provision. A generation should be ignored. Very nice. If no requests appear in the do list, provided is ignored. So generation should be ignored without a request. Okay, so it does do that. It shows all of the setups in here. So it does barf out all the things that we need. I think we need more description on what is actually happening here. Tests are running. Processing history, nothing. Processing history, this. All right, so we have this verbose output, which is quite a lot. I think that might be just turned off and on. But wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests. Okay, so processing history, processing event. Let's see where that's being done. I don't know. Maybe I'll leave that for another day. This has actually been pretty productive. And delete that. Close that. All right, so the big lesson here is the OCR works to a point. I think if we do some more formatting in here, it might be okay. It might also be okay if we have enough of this example code in our solution already, so it might get the hint about a lot of this. But having a spec file that's generated from all of your stuff. So Mohsen's a guy from Iran that contributed a lot to doing this with Miro, basically extracting test cases from event models. So this would kind of plug in quite nicely with his work, but adopted for Draw.io or something else that's more, open source friendly. And yeah, I'm quite happy with this. I mean, just look at the output. That's a pleasure to look at, especially these things that kind of embrace the specification by example and walking the timeline, right? So when we have our event models showing us something like this, and the business people understand how this processor works here. Well, we went down a rabbit hole with AI a little bit too much. So I think tomorrow we'll actually get into the rest of the implementation, because what I want to do is is show the full integration of the processor to the rest of the workflow, which will require pressing this button on here. Actually, you know what? Let's just keep going. It's almost 6:30. Maybe I'll come back after I eat something. And so another stream, bonus stream today, I think. I still have to publish the podcast, so podcast is going to be out at some point today, but not until I'm done with the rest of the slices, because the other problem is that we've only automated the slices that are state views. We need to automate this side, and so we need the same type of spec here. And so one of the things that I want to make sure we have is when we do specify this, we have a slice, but this will be a state view slice, and maybe a type here, right? And this will be state view, right? That's what we want. And there we can have, you know, another slice here. And here, because we already have the implementation, we should probably finish the tests for this. And now, why is this an array? This shouldn't be an array. Well, it would be slices. Okay, so we don't need that up here. Okay, so we have slices. We have the type and the name, and then the timelines in it, which is good. And then we go down here to create another slice. And then we have state change. And here, oh, is that the thing that we're testing? It's not a to-do. It's a provide ID. Is that what we have? What are we going to be throwing into the unit tests? Actually, did we go too fast without tests on this? So it does this generate unique ID is our command, really. That's interesting. So this is the first time where we are facing a small dilemma, because we really have a command that doesn't have any parameters. Actually, it does have one. It has this generic UUID, so it has one parameter. And this is the structure of it. That's the event. But the command will have the same kind of thing. So I really don't want to add any additional code. So, okay, I'm going to push this up, and we're going to tackle this next after I eat. So snack break, and then I'll finish this. So two streams today. If you have questions, post them in the Discord. I'll after dinner I will maybe answer them. So let's first get status. Let's see what we have in here. We have the screenshot, which I don't want. That was and then we want the specs for now. I'm going to play around with them. So git add everything, git commit, git commit, and we say tests for state for to do list finished auto-generated. Actually, we should probably see how good those tests are. I'm kind of trusting the AI. It might be just doing dumb stuff, but yeah, maybe we'll just look at that code and see how well it did. Test for to-do lists finished, auto-generated. Need to check if they are okay, because we sometimes want them to be very specific or like very complete in terms of having really good assertions. Last time we did that, it caught an assertion I missed. I didn't think of, so we'll see what happens here. Test for to-do lists finished, auto-generated. Needed to check if they are okay. Okay, so we'll do that and then get push, and then yeah, if you guys want to look at that, go ahead. Did I change anything in the diagram? CD. Oh, I did. It's status. Okay, well, whatever I changed in the diagram, I'm going to add that. I don't know what it is, but now git commit updated em in some way. All right, so we'll see you in a bit. I'm gonna try and hammer this home so that we have full tests and get everything finished so that you can see mostly end-to-end processor. Someone asked about multi-step processors for long-running workflows. We'll adapt something like this to show you how that works. It's not very difficult. It uses the exact same mechanisms that we're doing here. So, all right, see you in a bit after 8. Bye.